Hello there, and welcome. It's good to be spending this time with you today. Have you ever found yourself looking out at the world, maybe watching the leaves change or the stars come out at night, and a big question just kind of settles in? A question about life, about what it all means, about our place in it all. It's a feeling that can sometimes feel a little unsettling, a little like a gentle wave that washes over you, leaving you to ponder things that are bigger than our everyday routines. If you've ever experienced something like that, you're certainly not alone. As we journey through life, especially as we reach this wonderful stage, it's natural for these deeper questions to surface. We've accumulated a wealth of experience. We've seen a lot of life's tapestry unfold, and with that often comes a deeper contemplation about our existence. Sometimes, this contemplation can lead to what we call existential anxiety. Now, that might sound like a complicated term, but really, it's just a way of describing that feeling of unease or worry that can arise when we think about the big questions, things like our freedom, our responsibility, the fact that life is finite, and the search for meaning in it all. You might be thinking, anxiety? I thought I'd left those worries behind me years ago. And that's perfectly understandable. Life has a way of throwing different challenges at us in different seasons. But as we gain more time for reflection, perhaps with retirement or a change in pace, these fundamental questions about our existence can become more prominent. It's not necessarily a bad thing, this deeper thinking. In fact, it can be a sign of wisdom and a desire to live a truly authentic life. However, when these thoughts become overwhelming or start to affect our daily peace, it's important to acknowledge them and find healthy ways to navigate them. That's what we're going to explore together in this video. We're going to gently unpack this idea of existential anxiety, not to make it sound scary or intimidating, but to understand it better and, more importantly, to discover practical ways we can stay grounded, find peace, and continue to live full and meaningful lives, embracing this stage with all its unique beauty and challenges. We'll be looking at some simple yet powerful approaches that can help us feel more secure, more connected, and more at ease with these big questions. So, let's start with the very first thing that can be incredibly helpful when we're grappling with these kinds of thoughts: acknowledging them without judgment. Sometimes, just naming what we're feeling can take away some of its power. Think of it like this. If you have a visitor at your door, acknowledging they're there is the first step to figuring out how to interact with them. Similarly, when these feelings of existential unease arise, try to simply notice them. Don't push them away, don't get angry at yourself for having them, and certainly don't feel like you're alone in this. It's a very human experience. Perhaps you find yourself pondering the passage of time more often now. You might be looking at old photographs, thinking about loved ones who are no longer with us, or reflecting on the life you've lived. These are all natural reflections, and sometimes they can bring with them a sense of the fleeting nature of things. Instead of trying to suppress these thoughts, which can often make them feel bigger and more persistent, try to approach them with a sense of gentle curiosity. What are these thoughts telling you? What emotions are they bringing up? Can you sit with them for a moment, like observing a cloud passing by in the sky, without needing to fix anything or find an immediate answer? It can also be helpful to remember that the search for meaning is a deeply personal one. What gives one person's life meaning might be entirely different for another. There's no right or wrong answer here, no universal checklist we all have to follow. Think about the things that truly bring you joy, the activities that make you feel engaged and alive, the connections with people that warm your heart. These are often the threads that weave together your own unique tapestry of meaning. Maybe it's spending time with family, pursuing a hobby you've always loved, volunteering your time to a cause you care about, or simply enjoying the beauty of nature. Don't underestimate the power of these everyday moments and connections in contributing to a sense of purpose. Now, sometimes these big questions can feel isolating. You might feel like you're the only one thinking about these things, or that it's not something you can easily talk about with others. But I want to assure you, that's very rarely the case. Many people, regardless of their age, grapple with these existential themes at some point in their lives. And in fact, sharing your thoughts and feelings with someone you trust can be incredibly beneficial. It could be a spouse, a close friend, a family member, or even a therapist or counselor. Sometimes, just voicing these concerns can lighten the load and help you feel less alone. You might be surprised to find that others have had similar experiences and have found ways to navigate them. Think about the wisdom that comes with age. You've likely faced challenges before and found ways to overcome them. You've learned valuable lessons about resilience, about what truly matters in life, and about the importance of connection. These experiences are a powerful resource that you can draw upon now. Perhaps you've learned that focusing on the present moment, rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, can bring a sense of calm. Maybe you've discovered the importance of gratitude, of appreciating the good things in your life, no matter how small they might seem. These are all tools you've already developed, and they can be incredibly helpful in navigating existential anxieties. So, to recap this first part, we've acknowledged that it's natural to have these deeper questions about life, especially as we get older. We've introduced the idea of existential anxiety as the unease that can sometimes accompany these thoughts. And we've started to explore some initial ways to approach this, beginning with acknowledging these feelings without judgment and remembering that the search for meaning is a personal journey. We've also touched on the importance of connecting with others and drawing on the wisdom you've gained throughout your life. Now, as we move on to the next part, we're going to delve a little deeper into some specific strategies that can help us cultivate a greater sense of peace and purpose, even amidst these big questions. We'll explore how focusing on what we can control, rather than what we can't, can make a significant difference, and we'll talk about the power of finding joy and beauty in the everyday. In the first part, we talked about acknowledging those big questions that can sometimes lead to feelings of existential anxiety, and we touched on the importance of being gentle with ourselves and remembering that finding meaning is a personal journey. We also highlighted the value of connecting with others and drawing upon the wisdom we've gained throughout our lives. Now, I want to talk about something that can be incredibly empowering when we're faced with these vast, sometimes overwhelming questions about existence. Focusing on what we can control. Think about it for a moment. Many of the things that trigger existential anxiety are things that are inherently beyond our control. We can't control the passage of time, we can't control the fact that life is finite, and we can't always have definitive answers to the biggest questions about the universe. Trying to wrestle with these uncontrollable aspects can often lead to frustration and increased anxiety. However, there are many things within our own lives that we can influence and direct. Our daily choices, our actions, our attitudes, and how we choose to spend our time. These are all within our sphere of control. When we shift our focus from the grand, uncontrollable questions to the tangible aspects of our daily lives, we can often find a greater sense of agency and peace. Consider your daily routine. Are there small changes you can make that bring you more joy or a greater sense of well-being? Perhaps it's taking a walk in nature each day, spending time on a hobby you enjoy, connecting with a friend or family member, or even just savoring a cup of tea in a quiet moment. These might seem like small things, but they can have a significant impact on your overall sense of contentment and purpose. When we actively engage in activities that we find meaningful and enjoyable, it can help to ground us in the present moment and lessen the grip of those abstract anxieties. Think about your relationships. Nurturing connections with loved ones is something we have a great deal of control over. Making an effort to stay in touch with family and friends, offering support, and being present in those interactions can bring immense joy and a sense of belonging. These connections remind us that we are part of something larger than ourselves, that we are valued and loved. And this can be a powerful antidote to feelings of isolation or meaninglessness. Another area where we have control is in how we care for ourselves. This includes our physical health, through things like gentle exercise and nourishing food, but also our mental and emotional well-being. Practicing mindfulness, even for a few minutes each day, can help us become more aware of our thoughts and feelings without getting carried away by them. Learning simple relaxation techniques can also be incredibly beneficial in managing anxiety. Remember, taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's an essential act of self-compassion that allows you to navigate life's challenges with greater resilience. Furthermore, we have control over our attitudes and perspectives. While we can't always choose what happens to us, we can choose how we respond. Cultivating an attitude of gratitude, focusing on the positive aspects of our lives, even amidst difficulties, can shift our overall outlook. It's about training ourselves to see the good that exists, even when things feel uncertain. This doesn't mean ignoring difficult emotions, but rather balancing them with an appreciation for the good things we have. Now, Alongside focusing on what we can control, another powerful way to navigate existential anxiety is to cultivate a sense of awe and wonder in the everyday. Think back to those moments when you felt truly captivated by something. A beautiful sunset, a piece of music, the intricate pattern of a flower, the laughter of a child. These moments remind us of the beauty and mystery that surrounds us, and they can offer a sense of connection to something larger than ourselves. As we get older, we often have more time to appreciate these simple wonders. Perhaps it's spending time in nature, observing the changing seasons, or simply taking a moment to admire the details of the world around us. Engaging our senses and allowing ourselves to be moved by beauty can be a powerful way to counteract feelings of anxiety or meaninglessness. It reminds us that life, in its many forms, is extraordinary and precious. Consider exploring activities that spark your curiosity and sense of wonder. Maybe it's revisiting a hobby you once enjoyed, learning something new, or engaging with art or music that moves you. These activities can reignite a sense of playfulness and remind us that there is still so much to discover and experience in the world. It's about keeping our minds and hearts open to the beauty and joy that surrounds us, even in the simplest of things. It's also important to remember that finding meaning doesn't always have to be about grand achievements or profound discoveries. Sometimes, meaning is found in the small acts of kindness we offer to others, in the connections we build, and in the way we show up in the world each day. It's about living with intention and purpose, whatever that looks like for you. So, in this part, we've explored two key ideas: focusing on what we can control in our daily lives and cultivating a sense of awe and wonder in the everyday. By consciously directing our energy towards the things we can influence, our routines, our relationships, our self-care, and our attitudes, we can gain a greater sense of agency and stability. And by actively seeking out and appreciating the beauty and wonder around us, we can tap into a deeper sense of connection and find joy in the present moment. As we move into our final part, we'll be looking at how we can integrate these ideas into our lives in a practical way, and we'll also touch on the importance of self-compassion and finding peace with the unknown. We've journeyed through understanding existential anxiety, acknowledging those big questions, focusing on what we can control, and cultivating a sense of awe in the everyday. Now, let's talk about bringing these ideas together and finding a sense of peace and acceptance as we navigate this stage of life. One of the most important things we can cultivate is self-compassion. It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a dear friend. When those feelings of existential anxiety arise, it's easy to become self-critical, to feel like we should have all the answers or that we're somehow failing if we don't. But remember, these are universal human experiences. It's okay to feel uncertain. It's okay to grapple with these big questions. And it's certainly okay to not have all the answers neatly packaged. Think about a time when a friend was going through a difficult period of reflection. You would likely offer them comfort, reassurance, and understanding. Try to offer yourself that same gentle support. Acknowledge your feelings without judgment. Remind yourself that you're not alone in this, and be patient with yourself as you explore these thoughts. Self-compassion isn't about ignoring the difficult feelings, but rather about meeting them with kindness and acceptance. Another crucial aspect of finding peace is learning to make space for the unknown. As much as our minds crave certainty, life is inherently filled with ambiguity. We don't have all the answers to the big questions, and we won't. Trying to force answers or eliminate all uncertainty can lead to a lot of unnecessary stress and anxiety. Instead, can we learn to make peace with the mystery? Can we find a sense of comfort in the vastness and wonder of the unknown, rather than feeling threatened by it? This isn't about giving up on seeking meaning, but rather about accepting that the search itself might be more important than finding a definitive answer. Think of it like appreciating the journey as much as the destination. There's a certain beauty in the open-endedness of life, in the ongoing exploration of what it means to be human. Perhaps the meaning isn't a fixed point we arrive at, but rather something we create and discover along the way, through our experiences, our relationships, and our contributions to the world. Finding ways to connect with something larger than ourselves can also be incredibly grounding. This might involve spirituality or religion for some, but it doesn't have to. It could be connecting with nature, with art, with a cause you believe in, or simply with the shared human experience. Feeling like you're part of something bigger can provide a sense of perspective and lessen the feeling of being isolated with these big questions. Consider exploring activities that foster this sense of connection. Perhaps it's spending time in a natural setting that inspires awe, volunteering for an organization that aligns with your values, or engaging in creative pursuits that allow you to express yourself and connect with others. These activities can remind us of our place in the world and provide a sense of belonging. Let's take a moment to gently summarize what we've discussed over these 3 parts. We started by acknowledging that those big questions about life are natural, especially as we gain more time for reflection. We introduced the idea of existential anxiety as the unease that can sometimes accompany these thoughts, and emphasized the importance of being kind to ourselves and remembering that the search for meaning is personal. Then, we explored the power of focusing on what we can control in our daily lives, our routines, relationships, self-care, and attitudes, as a way to ground ourselves and find agency. We also talked about cultivating a sense of awe and wonder in the everyday, appreciating the beauty around us, and engaging in activities that spark joy and curiosity. Finally, in this part, we've highlighted the importance of self-compassion, treating ourselves with kindness as we navigate these feelings, and learning to make space for the unknown, accepting that life is filled with mystery. We also touched on the value of connecting with something larger than ourselves, finding a sense of belonging and perspective. Remember, navigating these big questions is a journey, not a destination. There will be times when you feel more at ease than others, and that's perfectly normal. The key is to develop healthy ways of coping and to remember that you're not alone in this. Draw on the wisdom you've accumulated throughout your life. Nurture your connections with others, and be gentle with yourself. Small, consistent efforts in these areas can make a significant difference in your sense of peace and well-being. Focus on what brings you joy, what feels meaningful to you, and what connects you to others and to the world around you. Embrace the beauty of this stage of life, with all its opportunities for reflection and growth. I truly hope this conversation has been helpful and has offered some comfort and perhaps some new perspectives. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. What resonates with you? What are some of the ways you find peace and meaning in your life? Sharing your insights can be incredibly valuable for others who might be going through similar experiences. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. We're here to support you in living a full and meaningful life at any age. Thank you for spending this time with me. Remember to be kind to yourself, embrace the beauty around you, and keep exploring the richness of life. Here's to finding peace and purpose, today and always.